This jar contains 56% sugar. But here's the crazy part. 56% of every jar is pure sugar, 5 teaspoons per serving. Parents spread it on toast every morning and call it breakfast. But here's where it gets even stranger. Only 13% of what's inside this jar actually comes from hazelnuts. The ingredient the entire brand is built on, the one on the label, the one in the name, is barely there. Think about that for a moment. Pour yourself a bowl of cereal. If 56% of it were pure sugar, you'd never touch it. You'd call it candy. 13%. That's what makes it into the jar. Today, we're breaking down how a pastry chef in post-war Italy turned a cocoa shortage into a brand worth over $4 billion, and how the word breakfast became the most valuable legal loophole in the history of packaged food. Postwar Origins, 1946. World War II just ended. Europe is rebuilding. And cocoa, the key ingredient in chocolate spreads, is nearly impossible to get. Rationing makes it scarcer than gold. So Pietro Ferrero, a pastry chef in Alba, a small town in northern Italy's Piedmont region, looks at what he does have. The Piedmont is drowning in hazelnuts. The soil grows them prolifically. They're cheap, abundant, and largely untapped commercially. And he asks a question that would change breakfast forever. What if the nut is the chocolate? He creates something called giandujo, a solid block of hazelnut paste with just enough cocoa to give it color and taste. It's named after Gianduja, a traditional carnival character from the region. The block was meant to be sliced like cheese and sold by weight. It was functional, it was nutritious compared to nothing, and for a population emerging from wartime scarcity, it was something close to a luxury. But here's what nobody expected. In the summer of 1949, during a heat wave, the giandujo block started melting, and customers discovered that the melted version, spread on bread, was even better than the solid block had been. The accident became the product. By 1951, Pietro's son Michel had taken over the company. He refined the recipe. Smoother, creamier, more spreadable. He called it Super Crema, and in 1964 he renamed it Nutella, combining the word nut with the Italian diminutive suffix ella, little nut, the name that would eventually conquer the world. That same year, the first Ferrero plant outside Italy opened in Stadtallendorf, Germany. The global expansion had begun. The scale. While you were watching that history, Ferrero produced 92,000 jars of Nutella. Let me put that in perspective. Ferrero now buys 25% of the entire world's hazelnut supply. One company, one product. A quarter of every hazelnut grown on Earth goes into this jar. In 2007, an American blogger named Sarah Rosso created World Nutella Day.
Nutella was so ingrained into the Italian culture, like gelato, like pizza. Everywhere you go, you see Nutella.
February 5th. Ferrero was initially so alarmed by the unauthorized use of their brand that they sent her a cease and desist letter, threatening legal action to shut the holiday down. Then someone in the building apparently did the math. Millions of people around the world were celebrating their product, creating content about it, and sharing it for free. And the legal strategy reversed overnight. Ferrero officially endorsed World Nutella Day, adopted it as part of their marketing calendar, and turned what had been a perceived brand threat into a global promotional event. The brand had become its own cultural institution, self-sustaining and self-promoting. But let's go inside the factory, because the scale of production reveals something the marketing never shows you. Inside the Alba facility, hazelnuts arrive by the truckload. Tens of thousands of tons flowing in from Turkey and Italy's Piedmont region, the two dominant hazelnut-producing zones on Earth. They're roasted at precisely 140 degrees Celsius for exactly 30 minutes, the point at which the natural oils release and the flavor peaks, the specific temperature window where the Maillard reaction produces the exact nutty, complex aromatic profile the brand depends on. Then they're ground into a paste so fine, the particle size is measured in microns. Finer than the average human hair in cross-section. Finer than almost anything produced in a food manufacturing context. The paste is combined with sugar, palm oil, cocoa powder, milk powder, and vanillin, an artificial vanilla substitute that costs a fraction of what real vanilla extract would at the production volumes involved. The recipe has barely changed since 1964. Except for one thing. In 2017, Ferrero quietly tweaked the formula. They increased the sugar and milk powder while reducing the cocoa, making Nutella slightly sweeter, slightly lighter in color, and slightly cheaper to produce. The change was implemented without announcement. When German consumer groups noticed and went public, Ferrero confirmed it. The company described the adjustment as an optimization. In other words, the same jar, same label, less cocoa, more sugar, lower cost per unit. Optimization. The loophole. Nutella is classified as a breakfast spread. Not a dessert. Not a candy. Breakfast. And that classification matters, because it determines what Ferrero can legally claim on the label and how large a serving size they're permitted to define. In the United States, a single 2-tablespoon serving of Nutella contains 21 grams of sugar. That's more than a Reese's peanut butter cup. More than a Krispy Kreme original glazed donut. And Ferrero's recommended serving size is 2 tablespoons. The average consumer spreads on closer to 4. That's nearly your entire daily recommended sugar intake, before lunch. But here's the serving size loophole. In the US, a serving of Nutella is 2 tablespoons, 37 grams. In Europe, it's 15 grams, less than half. Why? Because European regulators classify it as a spread, which carries stricter portion standards. American regulators allow Ferrero to classify it as breakfast, and breakfast gets a larger serving size on the label. A larger serving size, paradoxically, makes the product look like it contains less sugar per serving, because you're measuring a bigger amount of food. If the US serving size matched the European one, the sugar numbers on the American label would look dramatically worse. That's not an accident. It's a design decision. And if you're finding this as fascinating as I think you are, hit subscribe. We break down the engineering and deception behind the world's most iconic products every week. Permission. Here's the thing. Everything Ferrero does is legal. The problem isn't the law. The problem is what the law allows. In the United States, there is no legal definition of breakfast food. No sugar limit. No nutritional requirement. No minimum standard a product must meet before it can be marketed alongside orange juice and whole grain toast. If you call it breakfast, it's breakfast. In 2012, a California mother named Athena Hohenberg filed a class action lawsuit against Ferrero. Her claim was simple. Nutella's marketing made it appear to be a healthy breakfast choice. She had been feeding it to her 4-year-old daughter every morning, genuinely believing the advertisements. The ads, airing across American television at the time, featured smiling families describing Nutella as part of a balanced breakfast. Ferrero settled for $3 million. They did not admit wrongdoing. They changed the label. Think about that. A mother fed this to her child every morning because the marketing told her it was breakfast. And the only thing that changed after a $3 million settlement was the font size on the back of the jar. Pattern interrupt. That's the system working exactly as designed. Pattern interrupt. We started with a pastry chef in post-war Italy who couldn't get cocoa. We end with a $4 billion brand that can't legally call itself healthy in any country that bothers to check. The circle closes. But here's the part nobody talks about. Nutella is genuinely one of the most successful food products ever created. 400,000 tons per year, sold in 160 countries. A jar sold every 2.5 seconds. The factory engineering is extraordinary. The supply chain, 25% of the world's hazelnuts, is a logistics masterpiece. Pietro Ferrero's original insight that hazelnuts could carry the flavor profile of chocolate at a fraction of the cost and with greater availability was genuinely brilliant. This is a story about a great product with a marketing problem. Specifically, the problem of marketing a product that is 56% sugar to parents who are trying to do right by their children. The problem of using the word breakfast as a legal shield, where they've always assumed you wouldn't look. So here's my question to you. If a product is 56% sugar, but legally classified as breakfast, is the problem the product, the regulation, or the consumer? What's your breakfast loophole? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to see what else Ferrero doesn't want you to know, I broke down the Ferrero Rocher factory next. Same company, same hazelnut game, completely different deception. Subscribe for more deep dives into the engineering and the deception behind the world's most iconic products.